Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. The Paris Olympics, or the woke Olympics as I now call it, just seems to get even worse. So not only was the opening ceremony blasphemous, terrible, and an abomination, but get this, if you are someone that was offended, the Paris Olympics doesn't really care about you, and neither do the mainstream media. In fact, you are too sensitive if you happen to say that the mockery of Jesus Christ was unacceptable and you should not do that sort of stuff. But nevertheless, the mainstream media and the officials of the Paris Committee, the queer committee, I call them, they happen to think that it's an acceptable thing and it's an okay thing to actually mock Christians and mock God all the same, and just blame and literally gaslight the living daylights out of everybody in the process. But more than that, this Olympics, the Paris Olympics, will forever go down as the worst Olympics in the history of Olympics, because I found out that not only was the opening ceremony an absolute bust, even though a lot of people seem to think that it wasn't, but the Paris Olympics decided to put in a lot of woke policies. They wanted to go a lot greener because you have a lot of protesters, climate activists saying that we need to save the planet. And if we don't save the planet, we're all going to be destroyed, and so forth and so forth. The climate alarmism. And they wanted everyone in the Olympic Village to go vegan. So they had a shortage of eggs, believe it or not. Now, if you are an athlete and you know the specific diet requirements of athletes, you know that not all athletes happen to go on a vegan-only diet, which I think is the rather extreme end. But no, we're going to go green, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to actually give the Olympians food, real food that they need in order to be able to compete. No, we're going to starve them. We're going to give them vegetables, which is not a bad thing, mind you, but you got to have other things like, your meat, your proteins, your carbohydrates that are good for you, your fiber, everything in between that is actually going to be helping you build a rather functioning body. But if you just got vegan food or the likes of food that is laced in chemicals, you're not going to be feeling very, very good, I'll have you know. So the athletes were not happy one bit about that. Also, the accommodation, they wanted to go even greener. And get this, you know how we had or not how we, but you know how the Paris city had the massive blackout, literally the night of them mocking Christ, and only the church was lit up. Well, turns out that they wanted to go even greener. So they're not even powering air conditioning during France's or Paris's worst summer on record during the Olympics. They got no aircon. No, we've got this water filtration system. We're going to try and cool all of the rooms. So, I mean, they didn't even have a great deal of power involved, and yet there was a massive blackout, which leads me to even believe more that it was more of a natural spiritual occurrence that caused the blackout. But I wouldn't like to be an Olympic athlete because, first and foremost, the Olympics is a massive scam. The organizers, the committee, the country ends up making an absolute mozza of money. But do the athletes get it? Nah, they don't. They're just there to compete and they're there to put on a good show. But they spend years getting to that point. So in order for them to get to that point, we're not going to pay them a great deal. Australian athletes don't get paid that much, and neither do other countries' athletes. It's absolutely a massive rort. It's a huge system, believe you me. And it makes it even worse when you've got all these woke policies that you want all these athletes that are expecting a great deal. When they show up, they're expected to cope with less, such as no air conditioning. I mean, I would hate that. Honestly, no air conditioning. I need an aircon. Even in wintertime, I have my fan going because I need that. I sweat even in winter, believe it or not. And summertime, it's brutal. But yet you want them to suffer through. It's just absolutely absurd. We know that woke policies, greener policies, or this whole idea of going vegan, it doesn't work. So why constantly try to put it in place? It's like the Olympics is definitely not the place all the time to implement any of these policies. You had the Team USA basketball team that saw the bedrooms and went, nah, hell no. Have a look at this. This is the actual bedroom. That's what it looks like. It looks like cardboard. Now, do you expect Olympic athletes to sleep on a cardboard slab or a cardboard thing? Like, they don't understand that sleep is the foundational aspect of recovery. You need sleep in order to be able to perform. So let's give them the best possible thing, guys, to give them absolutely no sleep whatsoever. Let's give them a cardboard bed that is so uncomfortable. I mean, look at that thing. That is going to discourage people from actually competing or even wanting to go to the Olympics. I think the Olympics is, we've got 2030 something in Brisbane. So, hey, Australia, take note, honestly. And then also feed the athletes properly. You have a great deal of athletes that have gone, nuts, stuff the accommodation. We're going to organize accommodation hotels elsewhere. Now, it probably wouldn't be an easy thing to find an accommodation. It's the Olympics, for goodness sake. Hotels would be jam-packed. I mean, it'd be a good thing for hotel businesses during this time. It'd flush the economy even more. But even still, like, my goodness me. Anyway, let's have a look at this, because a lot of the athletes were outraged, and as you should be, but the Olympics has gone, we're going to ditch these woke approaches because guess what? It's not working. Olympic Games ditch woke approach as steak and eggs have flown into athletes' village after major complaints from stars. Also, the river where they had it was a man-made river, and they had issues with it being suitable for the triathletes to compete in because it doesn't look clean at all. And I think there was a video of an athlete after being in the water, he's just vomiting. Like, I don't know if that's because of the exhaustion and heat and because he pushed himself so much, or because he's not being fed proper food and nutrients and he's vomiting out all that vegan crap, or if it's actually the contamination and it's a combination of everything and his body's just going, nah, I'm not getting any of the stuff that I had when I was home. I'm getting all this other nonsense and rubbish, and it's just destroying my system. So mix that with the intensity that I'm putting in. Oh, my body's shutting down. So after all the complaints, meat and eggs are being delivered to the Olympic Village. Fake meat meal options were available to athletes, which are laced full of chemicals. Not good for the body. But organizers have relented to pressure from teams. Thank goodness for that. Olympic Games organizers have wilted to pressure from athletes and ordered more than 700 kilos of eggs and a ton of extra meat to replace fake meat meals and non-dairy options. What do they think? Like, hey, athletes, guess what? You're going to have to like it or lump it. This is the Olympics, damn it. You worked enormously hard. But guess what? We're not going to feed you properly. And also, you're not going to sleep properly either. Welcome to the Olympic Games. Oh, my goodness. You didn't expect that the athletes, the coaches, and the teams and the country organizers would be going, what the hell, France? Like, you're supposed to be a great country for food, but you're not. Well done, France. Athletes and teams have been left far from impressed by the food on offer, as the Olympic Village just one of a number of complaints, including lack of air conditioning, uncomfortable cardboard beds, lengthy walks to the cafeteria, and overcrowded buses which do not run on time. So if you want to get to your event, they're going, we've got greener bus options. We're going to bus you to where you need to go. But guess what? It's not working. Who would have guessed? Organizers of the Paris Games were determined to make this Olympics the most sustainable of all time, prioritizing a green approach in almost every area. And by the way, people, in case you're also even more outraged, the beach volleyball, which, as we know, a lot of people love to watch beach volleyball, especially the female beach volleyball. They've now said that a lot of the athletes have to wear leggings, not the short, not the short bikini bottoms that they normally wear or whatever they wear. And that has outraged a lot of people. I'm actually shocked, to be honest. But nevertheless, they've got a little bit of modesty coming into the Olympics. That's because of wokeness. And well, I don't think it's because of wokeness. I think it's just because people want to ruin everybody's fun. And people are actually commenting and saying they're waiting on Brazil and Argentina or something along those lines. Brazil and some other Latin country to compete in the female division of the volleyball. And I'm waiting. Anyway, just thought that would be a little bit funny. However, this aggressive focus on being eco-friendly has resulted in appalling conditions for competitors striving for greatness in the French capital, meaning world records have been few and far between so far. Gee, I wonder why that is. It's almost like you've got the most common sense approach in the world, but they're going, nah, we're going to throw that out the window. We're not going to have people sleep properly or have them eat properly. We're not give them any proper nutrition. They're going to have to like it, lump it, and give their best anyway. Oh, far out. Officials have staunchly attempted to downplay the issues in the Olympic Village, like they tend to do when they get caught out for their stupidity. But Paris 2024 chief executive Etene Thopi-Boyce, whatever the hell the person's name is, has admitted that organizers have responded to the lack of food options with a huge increase in meat and eggs. As far as food is concerned, we had to make a few changes as we had to adapt, which is quite normal. No, it's not. You're supposed to have everything planned for such occasions as this. But nah, we had to adapt because you know what? This is the best you guys are going to get, I'll have you know, in terms of an admittance to their mistake. But anyway, we have 700 kilos of eggs and a ton of meat that have been flown in or brought in case we have provided meat to fit the needs of the athletes. We have got a full vision in terms of nutrition, which is designed to provide the products necessary, including organic food. It's organic, man, but without the meat. Why not just have organic meat? That's possible. Oh, no, I can't have that. It's got to be vegan, man. We have adapted everything, and it is to the satisfaction of all concerned. Well, evidently not, mate, because you've got a lot of people complaining, especially the Americans and the Australians. But also, here's another interesting story for you all, and just why the Olympics is the worst Olympics of all time. So 2 years ago, the Chinese team were banned from competing in the Olympics, but they managed to win their case and be let back into the Olympics because, you know what? They blamed that Australian meat that they were eating and importing happened to be laced with the steroid that they were taking. So evidently China is blaming Australia for their fault. You can't make any of this crap up. You really can't, man. Like good old Chinese people, good old China for blaming Australian meat. So why is it that Australian, we eat Australian meat? Why isn't it that we weren't banned for illegal substances? China wins. Anyway, organizers have also relented and abandoned their policy of renting out air conditioning after it became clear that the position was unfair on smaller nations. Australia, Britain, Germany, Italy, Japan, America, and China had all installed air conditioning before the games began, with AOC Chief Executive Matt Carroll saying, "We appreciate the concern of not having air conditioning due to the carbon footprint," but added, "This is the high performance games. We're not going for a picnic." Oh dear. They don't seem to get that. We're more concerned about the carbon footprint of a couple of air conditioners going to keep the athletes cool so they can really perform and compete. But hey, The planet's more important, people, than the Olympic Games and athletes being able to do their thing. Because, the planet's going to be destroyed in a couple of days' time, evidently, according to these people. We have found a balance for the athletes' village, long-term responsibility for a model neighborhood with all of the green innovations, and our short-term responsibility to give our high-performance athletes the best conditions, she said. Yeah, right. Australian swimming queen Ariane Titmus described the conditions as ridiculous. Oh, I love Ariane Titmus. She did incredibly well, by the way, and said that it played a factor in her missing out on a world record in the 800-meter freestyle. Oh, of course it would. It probably wasn't the time I thought I was capable of, but living in the Olympic Village makes it hard to perform, she admitted in an interview on Sunday. It's definitely not made for high performance. So it's about who can really keep it together in the mind. It's like, let's make this as challenging as possible for all the athletes coming. It's high performance, people, but they're not going to be able to perform to their absolute best or be able to do high performance. We're going to stunt them. Absolutely ridiculous. Ariane Titmus said it best. It is ridiculous and bat crap in saying at the same time. The woke Olympics, people. This is what it gets you. Anyway, my friends, you take care. You be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.